Hello everyone, my name is Jack Edwards and welcome to my YouTube channel. This time last year I took my A-level exams. I took A-levels in English literature, history and politics, and I came out with A stars in all three. Disclaimer, this isn't some weird 1080p humble brag. No, I wanted to outline the top 10 things that I did to boost my grades up to those A stars and the things that you can easily do too. So without further ado, these are the top 10 things that I did to get 3 A stars. 1. Don't pick up the phone, you know it's only calling. Sorry, couldn't resist. Let's start that whole thing again. 1. Time spent planning is not time wasted. And this is true in 2 different senses of the word. So firstly, planning your revision. At the beginning of every single day, I like to make myself a quick revision plan or kind of to-do list, which I divide up by every 15 minutes of the day because I think it's a much more accurate way of looking at your time. I'm really specific with my plan, so I'll set aside a 45-minute slot to make mind maps on this particular topic for this particular subject. For that 45 minutes, you are completely focused, you know exactly what you need to be doing, and you get the job done. And be sensible with it. Like, I know for a fact that when I would come in from college, I would not want to do any revision for the next hour. So I would always leave that bit blank to just relax and take a moment to myself. The second use of planning is to plan your answer in the exam. If you are about to write a 45-mark essay, you need to have a plan to make sure you're being concise, you're hitting all of the points you want to hit, in the time frame that you are given. I always write out a really quick bullet pointed plan at the top of my essay. My teachers who were examiners always said that the thing is, when you open an exam paper to mark it, you don't know the person who's writing. You don't go in with any preconceptions about how they write or who they are. The first thing that you see, if you see a plan, you're like, hey, this person knows what they're doing, they're organized, this is going to be a good essay. So why not? Number 2, short-term goals. When I started revising for my A-levels, I found that it was very, very overwhelming because there was so much content for each subject. So I just opened a document in my computer and bullet pointed a list of everything I wanted to cover before the exam. So this included long-term goals, like I need to cover this section and this section of the textbook, but also short-term goals like make 10 flashcards on these specific dates. Then I tried to set mini deadlines for each of those things, so when I wanted to get them done by. Also, I found it really useful to focus on one topic for a specific amount of time. So for example, my history textbook was split up into 4 different kind of subsections, so I'd focus on each one for a week and a half, and all of the revision I did, which was varied, so you know, like mind maps, flashcards, writing out notes from the textbook, making myself mini questionnaires, I would do all of that on one specific topic for a week and a half. I feel like that way your whole brain is focused on that specific thing and it makes it much less overwhelming. I did a similar thing with English where I'd focus on one book per week, and that really made me focus and be really critical and analytical on that specific text, and that's exactly what they're looking for to get the top marks in the exam. Number 3. Block those distractions. You are a human being, you are not a revision robot. There will be distractions and there are ways to get rid of them. For your phone, there are apps, I think there's one called Forest, where you can, if you don't touch your phone for a certain amount of time, it will like grow a tree for you, and that's very nice. Also for laptops and computers, there is an app called Self-Control, which you can download. You essentially blacklist certain websites, so you can block Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Netflix, everything for a specific amount of time. So I would just set it for, say, a 3-hour period and be blocked off from those websites. I couldn't use them. Distractions gone. Also, if you just cannot resist, I used to go and put my phone down in like the bread bin downstairs just so that it wasn't in my eye line. If my phone is nowhere near me, I cannot be distracted by it, so I put it downstairs, and honestly the effort of having to walk downstairs and get it just to check an Instagram feed, not worth it. Number 4 is a much more practical kind of tip, and that is to condense your notes. Make essentially your own textbook/revision guide of all of the things that you need. For example, I spoke about this in my English literature revision guide, but one thing that I did that really, really worked for me was to make a quote bank. So I'd have a theme, all the quotes that went with that theme, and then a section for analysis, and then I would revise using that. So I'd condense the whole book down into just that bit, all of the crucial bits that I needed, and then worked from that. Similarly with other subjects, get your textbook, look at a whole topic and condense that down into maybe 2 pages of notes, and then condense that down into your flashcards, into your index cards, that kind of thing. I'd say condense and then condense again. Does that make sense? I hope it does. Number 5. Efficient revision is more important than time spent revising. You can spend 7 hours reading through a textbook or watching videos online and you will take little to nothing in. Alternatively, you can spend 15 minutes going through flashcards and you will probably learn 10 times more. One way you can use flashcards efficiently is by setting them out into different piles. So what I like to do is I'd have, initially, this would all be one big set of all of my flashcards. I'd then divide that up. So at first I'd revise them every day. Then when I got them right, they'd move into the next pile every other day. Then when I got those right every other day, they'd move into every week. When I got those right in the week, they'd move up to every fortnight, and then when I got them right every fortnight, they would go up to just before the exam, to kind of that last minute cram revision. You work out the things that you're struggling with every single time, and you're revising them every single day. The things that you know like the back of your hand, you're not wasting time with, because you just do them right before the exam just to refresh your memory. If I had 10 minutes free, I'd just flick through one of the piles, and it's a really efficient way of revising. Tip number 6 is that not all revision has to be neat. And this is something, as a bit of a neat freak, that took me a long time to realise. Sometimes just getting a scrap piece of paper and making a little mind map and just jotting out all of your ideas and connecting them with arrows and highlighting different things in different colours makes everything click in your brain, and that is so useful. Especially in the humanities kind of side of things, you need to be really critical and analytical of your own ideas as well as others. It really helps to consolidate how different ideas are connected or contrast from one another. Yeah, that I found really, really useful. And then after you've done that initial brain dump, then make a kind of neater version where you consolidate all of the ideas, something that you can refer back to, and hey, just call yourself Hannah Montana, because you got the best of both worlds. Number 7, I think. Essay plans are a lifesaver. Don't worry, I understand the struggle of the new linear A-levels. I was the first year to do them, hated it, but you can still make essay plans despite the lack of past papers. You know, your teachers can suggest things, you can look through the textbook and kind of formulate an answer. This was from W.H. Smith, it's just 50 revision cards, but they're on this kind of ring. Designated a colour to a topic, and then made these essay plans. They're really short, really brief, they're bullet pointed, but that's the best way because you can revise from them. So I'd, test myself, can I get all of the bullet points? I'd read through it, put it to one side, get a scrap piece of paper and try and bullet point all of the answers, all of the different points that I wanted to make. And I've got to say, before my politics exam, I was flicking through my essay plans, and I saw this essay question that I was like, if that came up in this exam, I don't know how I'd answer that question. Read my essay plan that I'd made, read the bullet points, went into the exam, opened the paper, and it was that exact question. And just like that, my essay plan became an essay, so it really does work. Number 8, I say with uncertainty. I think it's number 8. Find your study spaces. I know for a fact that I do not work very well in my bedroom. The library for me was the perfect place. I really like working in silence. Firstly, the fact that you've had to leave home and make the effort to go there makes you want to work. Secondly, it's a really positive learning environment. Everyone else is working hard, you're surrounded by books and knowledge, and yeah, it just makes you really want to work. Alternatively, maybe a different room in the house is good for you. I know that the dining room downstairs is always empty, no one ever goes in there, and it's silent, and so I like to kind of lock myself away in there. Find what works for you and work in that atmosphere. My penultimate tip, number 9, might actually not be that useful, and I'll hold my hands up and say that. This is only really useful if you're just starting your A-level or just starting your second year perhaps, but teach yourself as you go. The difference between my first year and my second year at college is that I did way more independent learning and work in my second year, and it really, really paid off. A really good resource is the journals review. So they have like an English review, history review, politics review, that's hard to say, but those journals are literally aimed at an A-level audience. They're quite often written by teachers. I know a few of my teachers actually wrote for those journals. So yeah, you can find critical stuff and work on that as you go along. But also, while we talk about that, make notes on them. You can read a critical article and forget all of it within 10 minutes, but if you've made notes on it, just little bullet points, or even copy and pasted some things into a document, those things will stick. And finally, the big number 10, look after yourself. You are the most important thing here. Your mental health is so important. Don't forget that. One thing that I've been finding really useful at university is to do parkrun on a Saturday morning. They do it in loads and loads of cities and towns. It's basically like a 5K run every Saturday morning from 9 a.m. And when I'm running that race, I just forget about everything. And when I finish that, I feel so good and ready to do more work. Also, take days off and give yourself rest time when you need it, because you will need it. If you are struggling, speak to someone, speak to your parents, speak to a teacher, speak to the support system that you have. Alternatively, there are websites you can go to. Mind is a really great mental health charity. My good friend Terry actually has a blog. It's called Terry's Tips. She's currently training as a mental health nurse, and she has loads of really good personal kind of tips if you're struggling with different mental health issues. So I'll leave the link to her blog and some other sites you can go to down below, so please look after yourself. You are the most important thing. So those were my top tips for getting the highest grades in your A-levels. Remember to always evaluate and analyze and be critical of things. Don't just describe them. Remember that you can do this. Remember that you can do anything that you set your mind to. This is definitely something achievable, attainable. I've done it, you can do it too. This is the time to get your head down, work hard, and it will pay off. Thank you for watching this video. I hope that it helped. If it did, please give it a like. It really helps me out. Share it with someone else who may need it, and subscribe for more revision tips. I've got loads of videos coming out in the next few weeks that should help. Anyway, enough shameless self-promotion. Thank you very much for watching. Have a lovely day. Good luck with your exams. I've been Jack Edwards. I'll see you next time. Bye.